Hey y'all, this is my review for the Real World Homecoming New Orleans, episodes 4 and 5. Again, I apologize for the lateness. I just thought, let me just combine these two because this week I am catching up. I know y'all been looking forward to my commentary, especially leaving off on the cliffhanger of last week's episode. Before we get into it, I am not too proud to put my Cash App and Venmo up. A ninja needs a new laptop, and all these shows coming up to review, it would make my life a little bit easier if I had some updated hardware. So yeah, my Venmo is Chris-Diggins, and then my Cash App is $CDIGGI1. Thank you. But yeah, let's get into this episode, shall we? But first, sweet double D, come on, be my baby tonight. Come on, be my baby tonight. Come on, be my baby tonight. Come on, be my baby. Come on, be my baby tonight. Yeah, I just love that song. Anyway, so we left off on Melissa reading Julie her Miranda rights, and she's trying to be a Karen right now after Tokyo did so much for her drunk self. And she had the nerve to tell most of the housemates that he manhandled her, got rough with her. Yeah, I'm glad Melissa's sticking up for Tokyo. Julie is saying the narrative that Tokyo and Melissa is talking about is not her intention. Well, girl, it's given the optics. So listen to the black people. Your drunk ass fell out of an SUV and you ran into a tree. Not Tokyo having to explain the definition of narrative to Julie. Like, Julie knows what she's doing right now, and thankfully Tokyo is clear and concise with his words. And here she go again. I get that you want to do it in front of everybody. Well, girl, you told everybody that he manhandled you. Oh, we are only maybe 2 or 3 minutes in. I can't call her the B word yet. And now Melissa calls out Julie for what she said in the hot tub of trying to make good TV. Julie is such a hard-headed, selfish bitch. Like, she cannot look outside of herself for a second. She is a textbook narcissist with a personality disorder. And I'm with Melissa. Like, don't drag me into your weird shit because your ass is bored. Ooh, y'all, I forgot why I put this episode off for so long. Jeez. Does this conversation end with her leaving the house? I want her to leave the house. And I do want to applaud the growth, the obvious growth that Tokyo has gone through. Because to deal with this psycho Karen, it takes a mental fortitude. There's no apology coming from Julie, it's just that ugly smugness that she does. And then she tries to do the gaslighting. I caught it. No, Danny did not. See, that's why I don't fuck with the white gays. Because, look, I'm going to give him some grace. I'm going to try to give him some grace. I think what really triggered me just now is him saying violent and forced. Like, y'all were drunk off y'all asses. At least Danny was, still acting like an adult and had an awareness. Julie had none of that. And they weren't allowed to stay into the club anyway because the bouncers kicked Julie out. Danny coming to Julie's defense right now is just really annoying, seeing as on episode 1, he definitely had to get his qualms with Julie settled, and then Melissa came to his defense. But when two people of color in the house point out some foul shit, you can't have their back, okay. But you know what? White people gone white. That's all that it is. White people gone white. Danny, Julie is being heard, but what she's saying is bullshit and gaslighting. And Kelly and Jamie and Matt, they are just silent. Silent. I really feel like Kelly's just trying to keep her peace. Jamie don't want no problems. And Matt, I'm still side-eyeing him. Didn't she hit Tokyo and Jamie that night? The only person that was being aggressive and violent was her ragdoll looking ass. Melissa then enters the conversation, but Julie tries to marginalize what she's saying as, oh, you've been waiting to come at me. You just been, have at it, make me the villain. And then we cut to Kelly in her confessional. Like I called it, like she's just so uncomfortable right now with this drama. Julie will not even let Melissa speak. Like, she's throwing out every single red herring in this argument. Like, Julie's superpower is basically gaslighting and creating narratives in her mind. And you just have these other white people in this circle just letting it happen. I don't even have the words right now for what Julie is doing, but yes, bitch, you are the villain. And here go the white woman, tears right now. I don't know what I did. I'm sure when I look at it on TV, She's doing every textbook Karen thing. When Melissa sees the tears coming, she grabs her fabulous green clutch and heads to the door. I'm just wondering, which day is it? Is it day 3, 4, or 5? Because they definitely have at least 8 days left. So where do they even go from here if there's this much tension in the house? So Kelly goes to check on Melissa, and she called it. She said, I will not be gaslit by Julie right now to try to say that I'm calculated. When Julie dirty ass is the one in the hot tub talking to her husband about manipulating situations and manufacturing drama, but had the nerve to call Melissa calculated. I'm gonna be alone in a room for the rest of the trip. Breathe, Chris. Breathe. we see it. We see it. People of color, we see what she's doing. I felt that, Melissa. She says, if I don't do nothing, I just sat back and watched it happen. And if I do say something, then I'm angry. She is so right, because in the first installment, when she actually had something to say and was calling out the racism, she was seen as the angry person in the house. Oh my God, did Melissa just say the real thing that needs to happen? And she needs to go to jail. Melissa said that with a straight face. I might have to take a picture of this part. Wait. This. Oh my God. I'm gonna try to include this, y'all. The real thing that needs to happen, she needs to go to jail. She even got a smirk out of Kelly. Now, Melissa, I definitely wouldn't say jail, but she definitely needs to be committed. Julie really had the nerve to say, I feel like some people are trying to make it out to be something that I'm not. Oh, really? Like what you did to Tokyo? Okay. So I guess this house meeting ends with Tokyo telling Julie, we just let us exist, please. After this conversation, I would say I'm just very disappointed in Danny right now. And he just probably does not get it from his perspective. Living in New York, I mean, I have the problem with white gays because they don't see outside themselves. They see themselves as the disenfranchised ones and have no sympathy for black gay men, black trans women, etc. But anyway, we still listening to Julie paranoid ass thinking that everyone in the house is talking about her. Like, narcissist. She really has some issues. She just walked by Kelly to say, oh, so is everyone talking about me? I would have pushed her down the stairs. So she's talking to her husband right now. She's thinking about going home. Go home. Go home, bitch. Go home. Side note, I noticed that the name of this episode is It Shouldn't Be Comfortable We're Talking About Racism. So I know we just getting started. So next scene, you have the whole cast downstairs. I'm guessing it's still breakfast because they're eating French toast, but they get an incoming message, and it says, it's time for a field trip. Today you're heading back to the bayou for a swamp tour redo. Hopefully the waters aren't as rough the second time around. Now, if you're familiar with the first installment, you're aware of what happened on that swamp tour. Like, one of the employees said the N-word, and no one else batted an eye except for Melissa. And Melissa definitely reminds us because that was not a pleasant experience. Oh, I forgot about this scene. I haven't seen it in a while. They did not care at all. They called her biased or whatever and angry. Damn, Melissa got hate mail for that? Shit. Melissa says, do I have to go? So then she begrudgingly agrees, and then we don't waste no time. We cut to the swamp tour immediately. Lord, I feel like production isn't as sneaky as Bravo, because I feel like Bravo production would have told one of the employees, now make sure you say nigga stork in front of the black girl. So the whole cast goes on the swamp tour except for Kelly, I guess because she got a book coming out and better things to do. So far it looks like they're having a fun time. No racial slurs were said. So far. So the swamp tour ends and Melissa says she actually had a nice time and the tour guide was lovely. We then see Jamie in his confessional acknowledging that he was very insensitive to Melissa on the first installment of New Orleans. And we see some never before seen footage because, you know, MTV, they shady over there. They would get the favorable edits to who they wanted to. Julie. I'm glad that Jamie acknowledged it though in his confessional, and I hope he did to Melissa too. Oh, I spoke too early. Looks like he does acknowledge it to her face on camera. So next scene, we're back at the house with Melissa and Kelly, and Melissa is very excited because her parents are coming to the house. We also find out from some never before seen footage that Melissa's parents did come to the first installment of Real World House. They visited her and they just edited it all out. They really had it in for Melissa back in the day. Like, damn. But then we get a little background in Melissa's life. After the show, we see that she met her husband. She has 3 adorable kids. They've been together for 17 years. Ooh, Melissa, he fine, girl. We also see she has a podcast. It's called Imperfect Strangers. I need to put that in my phone, Imperfect Strangers, and give that a listen. Wow, Melissa said she hasn't seen her parents since fall 2019. She did not play with COVID. So they're really about to have like a real reunion. So later on, the house gets another incoming message, and this time, oh, I'm sure the drama's about to happen because they're about to talk about race. It says 22 years later, have your perspectives changed? So now they're playing old footage of Melissa in Tokyo talking about the N-word. I'm wondering why they bleeping it out. I mean, this is Paramount. But anyway, I do remember Julie saying the N-word. I was like, oh, this could not happen today. We see the never-before-seen footage. The more never-before-seen footage I see, the more I think MTV was shading Melissa. Like, they took out so much stuff, and they just created the narrative they wanted to of Melissa. I could see why she was so afraid to do this again. Like, all this shit that was edited out, this was calculated. Woo, especially hearing what Jamie had to say. They definitely protected Jamie and Julie. Oh, the white people in the room are uncomfortable. So Melissa has to start off the conversation. Oh, Melissa, definitely the misstep that the show and production made. It's all their fault. Yep, Melissa continuing with the truth. Like, I remember when I was watching as a teenager where, you know, my mind wasn't as open. I was like, why is she so dramatic? Why is she so angry? And that's exactly how production wanted her to come off. And as I watched it as an adult, I was just like, oh my God. Like, I totally see where she was coming from. And that's when she became my favorite cast member. And now it's just like, I want to meet her. Just hearing this conversation right now, this is the best reality show on television right now. And yes, I mean over Housewives, anything on Bravo, anything on VH1 or Netflix. Like, this shit is so substantive right now. Like, I appreciate this conversation. Facilitated by Melissa. So now Julie's speaking, and she says she's grown. Have you, girl? Have you? So now the conversation kind of pivots to Julie's upbringing, which was Mormonism, which is historically racist. It's a fact. And they're just talking to her about that. And then when Melissa enters the conversation, like, I think Julie says some type of joke like, I could be taught, but my teacher is yelling at me. Yelling at you? This bitch did it again. The bitch did it again. Julie needs her own show. The bitch did it again. Like, she's just so ignorant. So ignorant. Like, why would you use those words? No one is yelling. No one raised their voice. I'm just so uncomfortable. Right. Thank you, Melissa. I'm guessing she's the cause of the title of the episode. It shouldn't be comfortable, motherfucker. We talk about racism. She just don't get it sometimes. And I'm just glad Melissa checked her respectfully. Like, didn't even call her out her name, but it's just the verbiage that Julie be using. Like, I feel like it's sinister and she knows what she's doing. See, we got small-minded Julie again. I feel like you're trying to ask me, am I a racist? Like, she doesn't get any type... I don't know. I just don't know how you talk to a woman like that. And I know there are many women like Julie, which is frightening to me. Honestly, at the end of the day, I just think Julie doesn't have the mental capacity to have a complex, nuanced conversation. Oh man, I know the conversation is uncomfortable for you. I personally think he's very much so like Julie. He's just like a smart version of Julie, if that makes sense. Lord, is she about to cry again? That's all I'm saying. Oh, let's keep going, y'all. Is Julie having an aha moment? Is she? Because she's just so damn calculated. I don't believe anything that comes out her mouth. So the conversation ends peacefully. No one walks out. No tears. Well, not as many tears. Or nobody got cursed out. So later on in the evening, Melissa realizes that maybe her tone was a little tangy. I'm going to have to use that word, a little tangy towards Melissa, and maybe very pointed. And she feels like she owes her an apology. I personally think she doesn't owe her an apology, but you know, Melissa, she's a good person, she's grown, and I love that she's able to be the bigger person. Interesting. The screen fades to black. To learn more about how to confront racial bias, head to nolahomecoming.mtv.com. Sponsored by Coke. Wow, I might need to go and check that out and just see if it's legit. So in this moment, Melissa does apologize to Julie. She just says, the topic of racism is, very difficult to talk about. You became kind of a punching bag and I was a part of it. I apologize. I don't know, Melissa. I don't think you owed her an apology. I think Julie should be apologizing to you every day. Patience. Okay. she says she needs to have patience for people like Julie. I don't know. I don't think there's enough patience in the world. But I get it, Melissa. Like, you had at least a week left with this woman, and instead of just walking around angry and stressing yourself out, causing you to age, just let it go. Let it go. Not sure where that came from, because I hate that song. Yep, Melissa peeped it like, hey, do not stress yourself out or else you will age. Y'all see the grays in my hair. Okay, next scene, it is a new day, and at the door knocking, like the police, is Melissa's parents, Mercy and Shorty Howard. Oh, her parents are so cute, and they look like they are ready to cook for them. And from the looks of it, they age just as gracefully as their daughter. It's crazy. They're showing multiple never-before-seen clips of Shorty and Mercy, and they took all of it out back in the day. Damn. Like, yeah, Melissa, I would be pissed if I was watching the first season and I feel like they cut all that out. Even Julie and Melissa are getting along. For now. Wait a minute. Did y'all notice that you have Melissa sitting next to her dad and they both do this to their nose at the exact same time? Just something I noticed. So we see Melissa's mom getting ready to cook for everybody. I mean, are they going to be using David's YouTube clips throughout the entire season? Onions, chop it up. Cherries, chop it up. I've been trying to imitate that one. I think I got it. Cherries, chop it up. Onions, chop it up. Yeah, this energy from the house is a completely different one from the start of the episode. I'm glad they're ending it on this note, because they definitely took us through a storm. So they all have a peaceful, drama-free, wonderful meal, and then they all hug it out later. Melissa says bye to her parents, and she's wondering, where the hell has this Julie been? I like this girl. Not the gaslighting Karen bitch. But anyway, that is where the episode ends, and we are now on episode 5. But hold up, we get a mid-season trailer? Let me just check this out right quick. Oh my God, David is gonna sing the song. He's gonna sing the song. Oh my God, what episode? Wait a minute, we have some infidelity going on? Ooh, and Matt is still a homophobe. How about that? Anywho, let's get to episode 5. So episode 5 opens with the cast getting balloons as well as a package received at the door. The balloons say Y2K in 2000, commemorating the year that the season came out. In the package, it looks like they got a bunch of outdated clothing and artifacts. Artifacts from 2000. Yeah, that year when everyone thought the world was gonna end because they thought all computers were gonna shut down. We see Tokyo still has his head and armband combo. Today's episode, it is black. Oh my God, and here comes Melissa downstairs with the signature short hair. Oh my God, simply iconic. Okay, so basically they're having like a memory lane 2000s party. And then there's like, oh, let's play some music from 2000s. Melissa must have been in charge of the playlist because the first song they play is Juvenile's Back That Ass Up. And as a New Orleanian, I appreciate some Back That Ass Up. I mean, it is how did Melissa say it? It's anthemic. Anthemic. But yes, it's a New Orleans anthem. I mean, it's a cultural anthem. I mean, every time you hear that boom, 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 Cash Money Records taking over for the 9-9, like you rush to the dance floor. You rush, run. Anywho, it's always good hearing Back That Ass Up. Always. So next scene, it's the following day. We're with Jamie and Julie. They're exercising together. Starting to see some chemistry between the two. And, we saw the previews for the rest of the season. And, Are they gonna hook up? It honestly looked like Julie would be the one to initiate it, especially because we heard her in the hot tub telling her own husband that she plans on trying to hook up with somebody in the house. So I don't know. I still think it's gonna be calculated on Julie's part. Later on, the house gets an incoming message, and this message makes Jamie the focal point. Jamie was the guy in the house that all three ladies wanted to be with. Now, I just thought he was just the cookie cutter, fraternity white guy. I had no interest. I thought Danny was cuter, and David at the time was fine, but unfortunately, he was an asshole. They also showing footage of Jamie and Julie hooking up. Seeing this on the TV has to be awkward. Well, at least for Jamie, because Julie looked like she got a plan in mind. So Kelly then asked Jamie and Julie, did they hook up after the show? Did anything happen? And then we found out that Jamie and Julie were both on one of the challenges together, and they definitely had sex. Oof. Kind of awkward. Jamie was like, well, I don't really remember if it was the challenge. Julie was like, well, I kind of remembered it more than you. Maybe it was more big of a deal. Julie also says that she was looking for a fuck buddy at the time. By the way Jamie looking, he's very aware that his wife will be watching this. So he's being very coy right now with his words. We cut to Matt in his confessional, and he's saying that he's very uncomfortable with this conversation, being that he is a devout Christian. But once again, it looks like we're unpacking Julie's sheltered and privileged life. Fast forward. So once that conversation is over, the cast dispersed, and now we're with Jamie and Julie, and we find out from Julie that Jamie was her first orgasm. The look on Jamie's face right now, like you can see that he's sweating bullets. Why is she bringing this up though to this obviously married man? I mean, again, I'm seeing Julie as calculating, and this is all in her plan right now. So next scene, we're with some of the other housemates, and now we get a little backstory on Matt and how he's been since the show ended. It seems like he's living that Duggar family life without the criminal charges. And he has super Christian values, 11 kids. I think he actually has 6, and the youngest one is 18 months. No thank you. Meanwhile, we see Jamie and Julie flirting again in the hot tub. Production, I see what you're doing. In the next episode, I feel they're gonna fuck eventually or do something. If not, then they are definitely leading us on. So it's the next day. I wish they gave us a count of the days that they're on so we can at least just get, a sense of a timeline, but they don't tell us. So it's the next day, maybe day 6 or 7. And now we're getting a background on Jamie. He's been married to his wife that he met on Tinder for 6 years. He was on the challenge a couple of times, didn't keep up with that. Not sure what he does for a living. I do think of all the cast members, he's definitely aged the hardest. I wonder how old is he? Is he 44 or 45? God, I hope not. He looks like a good 49. I wonder if I'm right. Let's Google. Ooh, he is 44 years old. Wow. Okay, moving on. Next scene is later on in the day, and Melissa has organized a tarot card reader to come to the house. Mostly for a throwback experience since they did that on the first installment. Now, as the tarot card reader introduces herself to the cast, Matt makes it very well known that he cannot participate because this is against his religion. I'm not sure why he had to make such a grand gesture to say that he can't do it. Moral oral, he needs an enema, a deep coffee enema. Matt even goes upstairs, he wants to be nowhere around it or even hear an earshot of the tarot card reader saying people's fortunes. So Melissa goes upstairs right quick to have a one-on-one with him, and he's just explaining to her how he's just, a devout Catholic and, predicting the future is just against his religion. He even says to Melissa that just being in the house is difficult for him because it's so different from his day-to-day. Melissa says she totally understands where he's coming from and she respects his commitment to his religion. I mean, it's still eye-rolling to me for these super religious people, because at the end of the day, these religions, they just promote so much hate, racism, homophobia, sexism, you name it. So many negative things done in the name of religion. That's why I just can't rock with it. It just ain't for me. And just a little Chris's business, I am not atheist. I'm just, you know, a little agnostic. That's it. But anywho, meanwhile, the rest of the cast is getting their tarot cards read. And my takeaway from each one is Julie and Jamie might fuck. Melissa should be in politics. Kelly is great in bed. Tokyo needs to be more open to people. And Danny needs to be a leader. Next scene is later in the day and the cast gets a package accompanied by a new incoming message. It looks like they're about to play a game and the name of it is Who Said That? Who said that? And in the box are face cards for every cast member to hold up to guess who said the statement that pops on the TV. So the rules are, shortly after filming wrapped on your season, all of you sat for interviews that were published in the book The Real World Unmasked 22 years ago. So now try to guess who said the quote in this game called Who Said That? Now, this can be very messy, but again, this isn't Bravo production. This is MTV, so it might be a little bit more tame. So far, this is a fun game. None of the quotes are that bad. They're mostly funny. The most interesting one, and the last quote that they left on, was a quote said by Matt in regards to Danny being negative, and he feels like he didn't get a chance to really get to know him. And I'm just wondering, ooh, is this a segue to a conversation about Matt's homophobia? And ooh, I think it is, because now we see Matt in the confessional with a producer asking him about his beliefs on homosexuality. He gives a very vague political non-answer, and then the producer asks a more specific question pertaining to his beliefs on homosexuality today. And then Matt does not want to answer. He was like, okay, well, I think we're done on this topic. I think I gave a solid answer for it. And homophobia. I knew it. And I'm pretty sure they're going to unpack that with Danny on the next episode. Because after this confessional, you get a little stare down between Danny and Matt. And that is where episode 5 ends. Now, episode 5, it was really light compared to the first 4 episodes. Like, I understand that every episode can't be explosive or triggering. So this was like a welcome woosah. And, you know, this episode that focused mostly on the white guys, of course, is going to be not that interested. All I gotta say is I want more Melissa in the next episode, and even if she's not in a couple of the scenes, make sure she's narrating the entire episode. So y'all, that was my review for episodes 4 and 5. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Please let me know what y'all think of both episodes. I got time. I'm still trying to play catch up. What's coming up next would be Beverly Hills episodes 1 and 2. On my Patreon, y'all gonna get 3 videos. Please be patient, y'all. I'm trying. I'm just one person. Again, if you want to support the channel, more so me, hit me up on my Cash App. It is $CDiggy1. My Venmo is Chris-Diggins. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye.